Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantahe. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Agajanana Patmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe Shri Mahaganapatahe Namaha Gurave Sarva Lokana Bishaje Bhavaroginam Nidaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Asmad Guru Charanarvindhabhyam Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Shri Hayagrivam Upasmahe Shri Hayagriva Namaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varadhe Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Shri Mahasaraswati Namaha Uma Komala Hastabja Sambhavitalatakam Hiranyakundalam Vande Kumaram Pushkarasrajam Vetrivel Muruganak Har Harohara Lokaviryam Mahapujyam Sarvarakshakaram Vibhum Parvati Hridayanandam Shastaram Pranamamyaham Swamiye Sharanamayappa Vagarta Viva Sampraktau Vagarta Pratipattaye Jagadah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Shri Parvati Parameshwarabhyam Namaha Komalam Kujayan Venum Shyamaloyam Kumaraka Veda Vedyam Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Asmad Guru Charanarvindhabhyam Namaha Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Srinath Narayana Vasudeva Pitambaram Karavirajita Chakra Shanka Kaumodaki Sarasijam Karuna Samudram Radha Sahayam Atisundara Mandahasam Vatalayesham Anisham Hridibhavayami Krishno Rakshatumam Chara Guruhum Krishnam Namasye Sadha Krishne Naiva Surakshito Hamasakrit Krishnaya Dattam Hanaha Krishna Deva Samudbhavo Mama Vibho Krishnasya Dhasosmyaham Krishne Bhakti Rachancalastu Bhagavan He Krishna Tubhyam Namaha Shri Guruvayurappa Sharanam Namranam Sanhidatte Satatamapi Purastairanabhyartitanapi Arthan Kamhanajasram Vitarati Paramananda Sandram Gatim Che Itham Nisheshanabhyo Niravadika Phalaha Parijato Hare Tvam Kshudram Tam Shakravati Drumama Bhilashati Vyartamartya Prajohyam Shri Guruvayurappa Sharanam Shri Bhattapadam Anisham Hridibhavayami Vamshi Vibhushitakarat Navaniradabat Pitambharat Arunabimba Phaladharostat Purnendu Sundara Mukhat Aravindhanetrat Krishnat Paham Kimapi Tattvamaham Najane Kairandum Kupinyan Vindu Mirakunno Niraja Lochana Ninodhai Itinhum Anyane Kumbiden Datoru Ritil Niyenne Palikennai Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare. Good morning, everyone. So we'll do a quick review of 6 and 7. I know some people are not able to join today, they're under the weather. Ramesh, can you do 6? Okay, And then Lakshmi Garu, is it you who's on the iPhone?
Yes, I am on the iPhone.
Okay. Can you do 7 till we learned, I think 5 or 6 stanzas?
Okay, you want? Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you can start, Ramesh.
Okay. கொஞ்சம் இது ராகம் மட்டும் ஆரம்பிச்சு
एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां गतस्य
कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः. दशकं 6 विराट देकस्य जगत् आत्मव वर्णनम्. एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां गतस्य पातालमीश तव पाततलं वदन्ति. पातोर्त्वते समपि देव रसातलं ते कुल्पद्वयं खलु महतलमद्भुतात्मन्. जङ्गे तलातले मतो सुतलं च जानु किञ्चोरुपाकयुगलं वितातले त्वे. शोणीतलं जगननं परङ्गमा शोभीतलं जगनमं परमङ्गनाभिः. वक्षस्य चक्रनिलयस्तव चक्रपाणे.
Ramesh, the second line is Vitala, second line end, Bhaga Yugalam Vitala Tale Dve.
युगलं
Vitala Tale Dve. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
क्रीवा महस्तव मुखं च जनस्तपस्तु पालं शिरस्तव समस्तमयस्य सत्यम्. एवं जगन्मयतनो जगतास्त्रितैरैर्यन्तिर्निपन्तवपुषे भगवन्नमस्ते. त्वद्ब्रह्मरन्धरपदमीश्वर विश्वघन्त चन्तांसि केशवगणस्तव केशपाशाः. उल्लासि चिल्लियुगलं द्रुहिणस्य केहं पक्ष्मानि रात्रिदिव सविता च नेत्रे. निःशेष विश्वशरणा च कटाक्षमोक्षः.
Rachana. So first Rachana, Vishwa Rachana.
निःशेष विश्वरचना च कटाक्षमोक्षः. कर्णौ दिशोऽस्विकलं तव नासिके द्वे. लोभत्रपे च भगवन्नतरोत्ररोष्टौ. அந்த இன் ரெண்டு இன்ன வருது இல்ல கரெக்டா?
Correct. You said Bhagavanna Dharotaroshta.
लोपत्र चोप भगवन्नतरोत्ररोष्टौ. तारागणास्तनच्च समनष्टदंष्ट्रा.
The last line Tara Ganashcha Dashanash.
Okay, அது அந்த ஒரு तारागणाश्च दशनाशमश्च तारागणाश्च दशनास् समनष्टदंष्ट्रा. करेक्ट?
Yeah, yep.
माया विलासहसितं स्वसितं समीरो. जिह्वा जलं वचनमीश शकुन्तपङ्क्तिः. सिद्धादयस्वरगणा मुकरन्द्रमग्निः. देवा भुजस्तय तनयुगं तव धर्मदेवः.
Last line Deva Bhujas. I think you said Bhujas. Bhujas Tanayu.
देवा भुजास्तनयुगं तव धर्मदेवः. पृष्ठं त्वधर्म इह देव मनस्सुतांशुः. अव्यक्तमेव हृदयाम्बुजमम्बुजाक्ष. कुक्षिक् समुद्रनिवका वचनं तुषन्ते. शोभ प्रजापतिरसौ वृषणौ च मित्रः.
Last line Shepa, not show. She.
No, okay, sir. शेप प्रजापतिरसौ वृषणौ च मित्रः श्रोणीस्थलं मृगगणापतयोर्नकास्ते हत्युष्टरसनैत हत्युष्ट्र
Saindava.
सैन्धव हत्युष्ट सैन्धव मुखा मुखाः கமனம் துகாலா அங்க கமா இருக்கு இல்லையா
And
முகா
after Mukaha. So அது வந்து இந்த Shrohi Stalam Mrigagana Padayornakaste Hastyushtra Saindava Mukaha Gamanam Tukalaha.
सत्युष्ट सैन्द तव मुखाः कमनं तुकालाः विप्रादिवर्ण भवनं वदनां जबाहु चारूरुयुग्म शरणं करुणाम्बुते ते संसार चक्रमयि चक्रधर क्रियास्ते वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलातिशैलाः नाट्यः सरिद्रः सदमुदय
Audius Sarit.
नाट्यः सरित् समुदस्य
Samudayas. Samudayas.
नाट्यस्त्रितः समुदयस्तरवश्चरोमा जीयादितं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीश ईदृक् जगन्मय वपुतस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयादिपनमोस्तु निरुन्दिरोगान् श्री कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः।
एवं दे श्री कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः। दशकं 7 हिरण्यगर्भोत्पत्ति वर्णनं हिरण्यगर्भतपश्चरण वर्णनं वैकुंठ स्वरूप वर्णनं भगवत स्वरूप साक्षात्कार वर्णनं भगवद अनुग्रह वर्णनं। एवं देव चतुर्दशात्मक जगद्रूपेण जातः पुनः तस्योर्ध्वं खलु सत्यलोकनिलये जातोऽसि धाता स्वयं यं शंसन्ति हिरण्यगर्भमखिल त्रैलोक्य जीवात्मकं यो भूत्स्फीतरजो विकार विकसन्नासि. Sorry, this first one is kind of hard for me. Yo bhutspita rajo vikara vikasannanasi sruksha soyam vishwa visargadatta hridayaha sampashyamanasvayam bodham khalvanavapya vishwa vishayam chintakulastasthivana tavatvam jagatam pate तपतपेत्येवं हि वैहायसीं वाणी मे नमः शिश्रवश्रुतिसुखां कुर्वंस्तप प्रेरणां कोसौ मामवदत् पुमानिति जलापूर्णे जगन्मण्डले दिक्षुद्वीक्ष्य किमप्यनीक्षितवता वाक्यार्थमुत्पश्यता दिव्यं वर्षसहस्रमाप्ततपसा तेन त्वमाराधितः तस्मै दर्शितवानसि स्वनिलयं वैकुण्ठमेकाद्भुतं माया यत्र कदापि नो विकुरुते भाते जगद्भ्यो बहिः शोकक्रोधविमोहसाध्वसमुखाः भावास्तु दूरङ्गताः सान्द्रानन्दझरी च यत्र परमज्योतिः प्रकाशात्मके तत्ते धाम विभावितं विजयते वैकुण्ठरूपं विभो यस्मिन्नाम चतुर्भुजाः हरिमणिश्यामावदातत्विषो नानाभूषणरत्नदीपितदिशो राजद्विमानालयाः भक्तिप्राप्त तथा विधोन्नतपदाः दीव्यन्ति दिव्या जनाः तत्ते धाम निरस्त सर्वशमलं वैकुण्ठरूपं जयेत् नानादिव्यवधूजनैरभिवृता विद्युल्लता तुल्यया विश्वोन्मादनहृद्यगात्रलतया विद्योतिता शान्तरा त्वत्पादाम्बुजसौरभैककुतुकात् लक्ष्मी स्वयं लक्ष्यते यस्मिन् विस्मयनीय दिव्य विभवं तत्ते पदं देहि मे। श्री कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः.
Very good. Okay, we'll continue from 7. So Vijay, can you be a student? And Sridevi Garu, can you be a student?
Sure. What? Yep.
So stanza 7. Tatraivam pratidarshite nijapate ratnasanaadhyasitam bhasvat kotilasat kireetakatakaadyakalpadi prakriti श्रीवत्साङ्कितम् आत्तकौस्तुभमनिच्छायारुणं कारणं विश्वेशां तव रूपमैक्षतविधिः तत्ते विभो भातु मे. So like I think we were continuing briefly last time, right? So Brahma is doing that meditation and then he's able to visualize Vaikuntham, which is what is happening in the previous one and the previous couple of stanzas. So here essentially what he sees is he sees the Lord himself. So that's why some of these words, right, are very familiar words which come in the 100th chapter and other things, right? So you are like shining like thousands, koti, like crores of suns, and then it talks about Shrivat Sankitam, the Shrivatsa mark, and the ornaments that you're wearing, and Kaustuba jewel. So all of that is coming here because he's seeing the Lord sitting in Vaikuntham. So Tatraivam Prati Darshite Nija Pade, comma Ratna Sanadhyasitam. So that word is together. So Ratna Asana Adhyasitam. So it's sitting on a throne made of Ratna crown. So Ratna Sanadhyasitam, comma Bhaswat Koti Lasat Kirita Katakad Yakalpa. You can break the Dya into Id and a Ya for if you want to break it. So Katakad Yakalpa Di Prakriti. So that whole line is together, no break there. Tatraivam pratidarshite nijapade ratnasanadhyasitam bhasvat kotilasat kireetakatakaadyakalpadi prakriti.
Tatraivam pratidarshite nijapate ratnasanadhyasitam bhasvat kotila satkirita katakakatya kathatya kalpadi prakriti.
So Vijay, and the Katakadhyakalpa, you can try saying that, but if you're not, I think that's where you can break the Dhya into a Id and a Ya, right? So Katakadhyakalpa, that might be easier.
Yeah, okay. Tatraivam pratidarshite nijapate ratnasanadhyasitam bhasvat kotila satkirita katakatya kalpadi prakriti.
तत्रैवं प्रतिदर्शिते निजपदे रत्नासनाद्यासितं भास्वत्कोटिलसत्किरीटकटकाद्याकल्पदी प्राकृति. तत्रैवं प्रतिदर्शिते निजपदे रत्नासनाद्यासितं भास्वत्कोटिलसत्किरीटकटकाद्याकल्पदी प्राकृति.
Shrivat Sankitam, together, Shrivat Sankitam Atha, double the Atha Kaustubha Manich Chayarunam Karanam. So that word also is, line is continuous, and then a comma after karanam. Vishvesham tava rupam aikshata. You can say it together, rupam aikshata vidihi. So remove that is and then put a visarga and a comma, vidihi, comma, tatte vibho bhatume. So that in the very end, he's saying that that form which Brahma saw, right? So may that form also be accessible to me or visible to me. Srivatsānkitamatta kaustubhamani chayarunam karanam vishvesham tava rupamaikshata vidihi tatte vibho bhatume.
श्रीवत्साङ्कितमाक्तस कौस्तुभमणि छायारुणं कारणं विश्वेशां तव रूपमैक्षत विधिः तत्ते विभो भातु मे श्रीवत्साङ्कितमात्त कौस्तुभमणि छायारुणं कारणं विश्वेशां तव रूपमैक्षत विधिः तत्ते विभो भातु मे
श्रीवत्साङ्कितमाता कौस्तुभमनिच्छायारुणं कारणं विश्वेशां तव रूपमैक्षत विधिः तत्ते विभो भातु मे श्रीवत्साङ्कितमाता कौस्तुभमनिच्छायारुणं कारणं विश्वेशां तव रूपमैक्षत विधिः तत्ते विभो भातु मे.
Stanza 8. So the stanza 8, you can actually mark it and keep. That's maybe one stanza you may want to memorize and keep and chant potentially every day, right? At least that is one of the things I say every day anyways. I'll tell you the meaning now. Kalam bhoda kalaya komala ruchi chakrena chakram disham avrinvana mudara manda hasitasyanda prasannanam Rajat Kambu Gadari Pankajadhara Srimad Bhuja Mandalam Srashtustustikaram Vapustava Vibho Madrogamudhvasayet. She says, Lord, when Brahma sees it, right, in the previous he started describing, she says, and this is very similar to what comes in the 100th chapter which we saw, right? She says that it's a dark clouds color, right, rain clouds color with a blue hue, like the kalaya flowers, which is what Bhattacharya refers in multiple places. Every time he describes, he says it's like the blue color, blue lily flowers, kalaya flowers. So it is in the dark blue hue with the dark gray clouds kind of a thing, and whose face manda hasita, with a very smiling face. The face is very smiling, and then your four arms are bearing the Shankh, Chakram, and the Gadai and the lotus, right? So with the four arms which are adorned with all of those things, and this one which gave Tushtikaram, which gave extreme happiness to Brahma when he saw that. So may that form of you, which is described this way, which gives extreme happiness to Brahma, Mad Rogam Udhvasayet, may that form eliminate all the diseases and the ailments that I actually have. So this is one thing where normally Bhattacharya says it at the very end, right? Please eradicate all the ailments that I have. So here he's saying it in between, because where Brahma is seeing this form in Vaikuntham. So he's saying that form which Brahma sees, that's the ultimate form. May that form come and you come in that form and eradicate the ailments to me. Previous stanza, he says, may I get access to that form. May I also be able to see that form. That's what he said in the previous stanza. So here he's saying, Madroga Mudhvasayet, let that eradicate my diseases and ailments. So Kalam Bhoda Kalaya Komala Ruchi Chakrena Chakram Disham. So put a im at the very end of it in comma. Disham. So that line is together, no pause. Next line, ma becomes a a. Avrinvanam Udara Manda Hasita Syanda Prasannananam. So even that line is continuous, no break. Kalam Bhoda Kalaya Komala Ruchi Chakrena Chakram Disham Avrinvana Mudara Manda Hasita Syanda Prasannananam.
Kalam Bhoda Kalaya Komala Ruchi Chakrena Chakram Disham Avrinvana Mudhara Manda Hasita Syanda Prasannananam. कालाम्भोदकलाय कोमलरुचिचक्रेण चक्रं दिशाम् आवृण्वानमुदारमन्दहसितस्यन्दःप्रसन्नाननम्
कालाम्भोदकलाय कोमलरुचि चक्रेण चक्रं दिशाम् आवृण्वानमुदारमन्दहसितस्यन्दप्रसन्नाननम् कालाम्भोदकलाय कोमलरुचि चक्रेण चक्रं दिशाम् आवृण्वानमुदारमन्दहसितस्यन्दप्रसन्नाननम्
Rajat Kambu Gadari Pankaja Dhara Srimat Bhujamandalam. Then a comma. So that line is also continuous. Srashtus Tuštikaram Vapus Tava Vibho, comma. So the next word you can say it Madrogam Udvasayet or Madrogam Udvasayet. It's the same thing. It's a dra essentially there. So Madrogam Udvasayet. Rajat Kambu Gadari Pankajadhara Srimad Bhujamandalam Srashtustuštikaram Vapustava Vibho Madrogam Udvasayet.
राजत्कम्भुगधारि पङ्कजधर श्रीमद्भुजामण्डलं स्रष्टुस्तुष्टिकरं वपुस्तव विभो मध्रोगमुद्वासयेत् राजत्कम्भुगधारि पङ्कजधर श्रीमद्भुजामण्डलं स्रष्टुस्तुष्टिकरं वपुस्तव विभो मध्रोगमुद्वासयेत्
राजत्कम्बुगदारि पङ्कजधर श्रीमद्भुजामण्डलं स्रष्टुस्तुष्टिकरं वपुस्तव विभो मद्रोगमुद्वासयेत् राजत्कम्बुगदारि पङ्कजधर श्रीमद्भुजामण्डलं स्रष्टुस्तुष्टिकरं वपुस्तव विभो मद्रोगमुद्वासयेत्
Rajesh. Raj Kambu Gadasiya Gadariya.
Gadari. Ari is discus. Gadai is Gadai, the mace. Ari is chakram, discus. So Gadari is discus and the mace. Okay. So you can change it to Ri if you ever see there. Okay. Stanza 9. Drishtva Sambhrita. Oh, sorry. Drishtva Sambhrita Sambramah Kamalabhuh Twatpada Ruhe Harsha Veshavasham Vado Nipatitah Pritya Kritarthi Bhavan Janasyeva Manishitam Mama Vibho Jnanam Tada Padaya Dvaita Dvaita Bhavat Swarupa Paramityachastatam Tvam Bhaje. So he is when Brahma sees this form of the Lord, and then he is, is prostrating. And then this is where Brahma is requesting that I need help, right? So even Brahma himself is going and asking for help, saying, I need the real knowledge so I can go about with this act of creation. And this is where the Lord blesses, and which is when the creation and all starts in the next chapter. So Drishtva Sambhrita Sambramaha is there, put a ih sound, Sambramah Kamala Bhuhu. So that is that is there, remove it, Visarga and a comma, Kamala Bhuhu. Twat Pada Pathoruhe, comma, Harsha Vesha Vasham Vado Nipatitaha, comma, Pritya Kritarthi Bhavan. Drishtva Sambhrita Sambramah Kamala Bhuhu Twatpada Pathoruhe Harsha Vesha Vasham Vado Nipatitaha Pritya Kritarthi Bhavan.
दृष्ट्वा संभृत समभ्रम कमलभूः त्वत्पादपाथोरुहे हर्षावेशवशं वदो निपतितः प्रीत्या कृतार्थी भवन्.
Vijay, in the first line, sorry, Sambhrita Sambhrama, both are short in the second letters.
Sambhrita Sambhrama. Okay. दृष्ट्वा संभृत संभ्रमः कमलभूः त्वत्पादपाथोरुहे हर्षावेशवशं वदो निपतितः प्रीत्या कृतार्थी भवन्
दृष्ट्वा संभृतसंभ्रमः कमलभूः त्वत्पादपाथोरुहे हर्षावेशवशं वदो निपतितः प्रीत्या कृतार्थी भवन् दृष्ट्वा संभृतसंभ्रमः कमलभूः त्वत्पादपाथोरुहे हर्षावेशवशं वदो निपतितः प्रीत्या कृतार्थी भवन्
ராஜேஷ்
Ah.
திருஷ்டுவா சம்பிரத சம்பிரமஹன்னு அங்க விசர்க்கம் இருக்கு
And
எடுத்து
put the ich sound, H sound. Sambramah.
பிரம கமல பூஹு அங்க
Correct.
விசர்க்கம்
Correct, yes. Janasyeva manishitam mama vibho, comma, jnanam tada padaya, comma, dvaita dvaita bhavat swarupa param ityachashta. If you want to break it, or you can say paramityachashta together. So paramityachashta tam tvam bhaje. So that whole line is continuous. So here the first word dvaita, dvaita means dvaita and advaita. So Brahma is asking for both of those knowledge, because see, if he has to create other beings, physical beings, then there's a concept of duality, right? Lord and then the other beings, concept of duality. But at the same time, we also know that there is no duality. They're all the same thing, right? So that knowledge also Brahma wants to have. So he says, you give me this knowledge of duality so I can create people. But at the same time, if you have the knowledge, if you think two are separate, the Lord is different from everybody else, then you are bound by karma also. You are then getting into ignorance. So he says, I also need the knowledge that both of it is you, so that I'm not bound by ignorance as well. So that's why he's asking Dvaita and Advaita. Give me both of this knowledge so I can execute my actions. At the same time, I'm also not ignorant of what is reality. So Janasyeva manishitam mama vibho, comma, jnanam tada padaya, comma, dvaita dvaita bhavat swarupa param ityachashtatam tvam bhaje. I think I already said that. So yeah.
Oh, I okay. जानास्येव मनीषितं मम विभो ज्ञानं तदा पादय द्वैताद्वैतभवत्स्वरूपपरम् इत्याचष्टतं त्वां भजे जानास्येव मनीषितं मम विभो ज्ञानं तदा पादय द्वैताद्वैतभवत्स्वरूपपरम् द्वैताद्वैतभवत्स्वरूपपरमित्याचष्टतं त्वां भजे
जानास्येव मनीषतं मम विभो ज्ञानं तदा पादय द्वैताद्वैतभवत्स्वरूपपरमित्याचष्टतं त्वां भजे जानास्येव मनीषतं मम विभो ज्ञानं
Manishitam.
जानास्येव मनीषितं मम विभो ज्ञानं तदा पादय द्वैताद्वैतभवत्स्वरूपपरमित्याचष्टतं त्वां भजे
Atamre charane vinamra matha tam, comma, hastena haste sprishanne, comma, bodhaste bhavita, and then put a comma there. Na sarga vidibhir bandopi sanjayate. In sound, sanjayate. आताम्रे चरणे विनम्र मतथम हस्तेन हस्ते स्पृशन् बोधस्ते भविता न सर्गभिधिभिर्बन्धोऽपि सञ्जायते
आताम्रे चरणे विनम्रमथतं हस्तेन हस्ते स्पृशन् बोधस्ते भविता न सर्गविधिभिर्बन्धोऽपि सञ्जायते
Vichand, bodhaste bhavita, after this is a pause, okay?
Oh, bodhaste bhavita, okay. आताम्रे चरणे विनम्रमथतं हस्तेन हस्ते स्पृशन् भूतस्ते भविता न सर्गविधिभिर्बन्धोऽपि सञ्जायते
आताम्रे चरणे विनम्रमथतं हस्तेन हस्ते स्पृशन् बोधस्ते भविता न सर्गविधिभिर्बन्धोऽपि सञ्जायते आताम्रे चरणे विनम्रमथतं हस्तेन हस्ते स्पृशन् बोधस्ते भविता न सर्गविधिभिर्बन्धोऽपि सञ्जायते
इत्याभाष्य गिरं प्रतोष्य नितरां, comma, तच्चित्त, each and then double that, तच्चित्त गूढः is there coming, put a is गूढस् स्वयं, comma, सृष्टौ तं समुदैरयः is there, put a is again, समुदैरयस् स भगवन्, put a in after that and then a comma. So Bhagavan, comma, next word starts with a u. Ullasa yolla ghatam. That word is together. Ullasa yolla ghatam. Itya bhashya giram pratoshya nitaram tacchitta gudha swayam srishtau tam samudairayasa bhagavan ullasa yolla ghatam.
इत्याभाष्य गिरं प्रतोष्य नितरां तच्चित्तगूढस्वयं सृष्टौ तं समुदैरयः स भगवन् उल्लासयोल्लाघताम् इत्याभाष्य गिरं प्रतोष्य नितरां तच्चित्तगूढस्वयं सृष्टौ तं समुदैरयः स भगवन् उल्लासयोल्लाघताम्
इत्याभाष्य गिरं प्रतोष्य नितरां तच्चित्तगूढस्वयं सृष्टौ तं समुदैरयः स भगवन् उल्लासयोल्लाघताम् इत्याभाष्य गिरं प्रतोष्य नितरां तच्चित्तगूढस्वयं सृष्टौ तं समुदैरयः स भगवन् उल्लासयोल्लाघताम् श्री कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः
ராஜேஷ் ஒரு சின்ன
Yeah.
கொஸ்டின்
Yeah.
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லைன்ல ஆதாம்ரே சரண வினம்ர மதத்தம்னு பிரிக்கணுமா எப்படி அந்த இடம்
Ama charane vinamram, it's vinamram atha. That's the actual way. You can say vinamram atha. You can say that word together. Vinamram atha. Charane and vinamram atha are two different words.
வினம்ர மதத்தம்
Vinamram atha.
வினம்ர மதத்தம்
Yeah.
மதத்தம்
Yeah. Okay, chapter 8. So this is Pralaya Varnam and Jagat Srishti Prakar. So this is where, you know, it talks about Brahma and how the things are getting created here. So first stanza. So evam tavat prakrita prakshayante, comma, brahme kalpe hyadime. So ha and ya, hyadime labda janma. Brahma bhuyas tvatta, so double the tvatta evapya vedan, comma, srishtim chakre purva kalpopamanam, kalpopamanam. Evam tavat prakrita prakshayante brahme kalpe hyadime labda janma. Brahma bhuyastvatta evapya vedan srishtim chakre purva kalpopamanam.
एवं तावत् प्राकृत प्रक्षयान्ते ब्राह्मे कल्पे ह्यादि मे लब्ध जन्मा ब्रह्मा भूयस्त्वत्त एवाप्यवेदान् सृष्टिं चक्रे पूर्वकल्पोपमानाम् एवं तावत् प्राकृत प्रक्षयान्ते ब्राह्मे कल्पे ह्यादि मे लब्ध जन्मा ब्रह्मा भूयस्त्वत्त एवाप्यवेदान् सृष्टिं चक्रे पूर्वकल्पोपमानाम्
एवं तावत् प्राकृत प्रक्षयान्ते ब्राह्मे कल्पे ह्यादिमे लब्ध जन्मा ब्रह्मा भूयस्त्वत्त एवाप्यवेदान् सृष्टिं चक्रे पूर्वकल्पोपमानाम् एवं तावत् प्राकृत प्रक्षयान्ते ब्राह्मे कल्पे ह्यादिमे लब्ध जन्मा ब्रह्मा भूयस्त्वत्त एवाप्यवेदान् सृष्टिं चक्रे पूर्वकल्पोपमानाम्.
Just a quick, I won't get into too much details, but so essentially what this is telling you, like we discussed last time, right? There's a Prakriti, and then the other one is the one which happens at the end of every Brahma's day or night, and then there is 100 years of Brahma. So after 100 years of Brahma is the Prakrita this thing, Pralaya, which happens, which means everything is completely gone. Everything is, there's nothing that exists, everything is existing in subtle state. And then so the first, the 100 years of Brahma is called as a Mahakalpa. So this Mahakalpa that we are living in right now is called as a Padma Mahakalpa, because this is in this 100 years, this Brahma who is there came from the lotus, from the navel of the Lord. So that's why it's Padma Mahakalpa. In the previous Mahakalpa, this is the 7th Mahakalpa. In the previous Mahakalpas, Brahma has come from other parts of the Lord's body, because nobody was there. It was just the Lord, and then Brahma, the first person or first thing that comes is Brahma. So in this, the first day in this Padma Kalpa, the first day is always called the Brahma Kalpa, which is the Brahma, that's a day called Brahma Kalpa. Right now we are in Shweta Varaha Kalpa. So when you're doing the this thing, right? What do you call it? Sankalpam. So you say Shweta Varaha Kalpe, right? So you're saying right now I'm in this day, the Shweta Varaha Kalpe, this day of Brahma I am in. But the first day of Brahma in this Kalpa is called Brahma Kalpa. So when Brahma comes there, like we say, there is no author for the Vedas, right? Nobody knows where the Vedas come or who. Veda Vyasa, only all he did was he took the Vedas and he divided it into the 4 parts so people can understand. So here it says when Brahma first comes in his first day of Brahma Kalpa, he obtains this knowledge of Vedas. That's what he says, Veda. So he obtains his knowledge of Veda directly from you. He gets the knowledge of the Vedas, and he is the first person who gets this knowledge here. So Soyam Chatur Yuga Sahasra Mitanya Hani, comma, Tavan Mitascha Rajanir Bahusho Ninaya Nidratyasau Twai Niliya Samam Swasrishtaihi. So put Visarga at the end and comma, Srishtaihi. Next line, Ir, if you see that, remove that off. Naimittika Pralayam Ahuratosya, if you want to break it. Naimittika Pralayam Ahuratosya Ratrim. So essentially this says that the day of Brahma, which is 1000 Chatur Yugas, right? So we are every one combination of the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga is one Chatur Yuga. And then 1000 of such Chatur Yugas is one day of Brahma, one Kalpa of Brahma. And then at the end of that Kalpa of Brahma is the Naimittika Pralayam that comes, which means another of that 1000 years, 1000 Chatur Yugas, another Kalpa of Brahma. There is nothing. There are only 3 worlds. The top 3 worlds still exist, but every other world is, everything is completely dissolved and in water. But the physical worlds still exist. The worlds don't disappear at the end of the Naimittika Pralaya. That's what he says. That is called as Brahma's day. This is called, that's the same thing is called as Brahma's night when the Naimittika Pralaya happens. Sohyam Chatur Yuga Sahasra Mitanyahani Tavan Mitascha Rajani Bahusho Ninaya Nidratya Sautoi Niliya Samam Swasrishtaihi Naimittika Pralayamahuratosya Ratrim.
Soyam Chaturyuga Sahasramityanyahani Tavan Mitascha Rajanir Bahusho Ninaya निद्रात्यसौ त्वयि निलीय समं स्वसृष्टैः नैमित्तिकप्रलयमाहुरतोऽस्य रात्रिम् सोऽयं चतुर्युगसहस्रमित्यान्यहानि
Vijay, sir, அந்த இடத்துல மிதான்ய அங்க இத்தில் there's no it மிதான்யஹான்.
Oh, sorry. सोऽयं चतुर्युगसहस्रमितान्यहानि तावन्मिताश्च रजनीर्बहुशो निनाय निद्रात्यसौ त्वयि निलीय समं स्वसृष्टैः नैमित्तिकप्रलयमाहुरतोऽस्य रात्रिम्
सोऽयं चतुर्युगसहस्रमितान्यहानि तावन्मिताश्च रजनीर्बहुशो निनाय निद्रात्यसौ त्वयि निलीय समं स्वसृष्टैः नैमित्तिकप्रलयं माहुरतोऽस्य रात्रिम् सोऽयं चतुर्युगसहस्रमितान्यहानि तावन्मिताश्च रजनीर्बहुशो निनाय निद्रात्यसौ त्वयि निलीय समं स्वसृष्टैः नैमित्तिकप्रलयमाहुरतोऽस्य रात्रिम्.
ராஜேஷ் செகண்ட் லைன்ல நினாய அப்படி இருக்கணுமா? நினாய அந்த இது போட்டாங்க.
No visarga, just ninaya.
நினாய. ஓகே.
अस्मादृशां पुनरहर मुख कृत्य तुल्यां comma सृष्टिं करोत्यनुदिनं, that one word, करोत्यनुदिनं स भवत् प्रसादात् प्राग ब्राह्मकल्प जनुषां च परायुषां तु comma सुप्त प्रबोधन समास्ति तदापि सृष्टिहि. So this what so we all know about the Chiranjeevis like Markandeya and a few others who are Chiranjeevis, right? So even they, what happens is at the end of the Naimittika Pralaya, which is the day of Brahma, then the Naimittika Pralaya is the night of the Brahma where nothing is there. Every soul in the universe actually ends up merging into Brahma, and then Brahma ends up merging into the Lord. Okay, so that is the path all of these things take, right? Because he's the ultimate source. From him, from Brahma is where all the creation is happening, right? Brahma himself came from the Lord, but Brahma is where all the creation happened. So it kind of reverses back. So he says, so here he's saying that every morning of Brahma, he goes about his duties just like we all go about our duties. He has to go and do this creation, take care of the creation. Then the Manus and others will all come later, so we'll cover it then. And then at the end of the Naimittika Pralaya, even the Chiranjeevis, it says, merge into Brahma. The only difference they're articulating is when the Chiranjeevis are born again in the morning, when Brahma next Kalpa starts, is they retain the memory of what happened in the previous Kalpa. So for them, it is like they're going to sleep and waking up. But for everybody else, it's a completely fresh start, right? So that's what they're saying. So even they get merged into the during the Naimittika Pralaya. Now there's no existence that is there.
Ram and Ram.
अस्मादृशां पुनरहर मुखकृत्य तुल्यां सृष्टिं करोत्यनुदिनं स भवत् प्रसादात् प्राग् ब्राह्मकल्पजनुषां च परायुषां तु सुप्त प्रबोधन समास्ति तदापि सृष्टिः.
अस्मादृशां पुनरहर्मुखकृत्य तुल्यां सृष्टिं करोत्यनुदिनं स भवत् प्रसादात् प्राग्ब्राह्मकल्पजनुषां च परायुषां तु सुप्तप्रबोधनसमास्ति तदापि सृष्टिः. अस्मादृशां पुनरहर्मुखकृत्य तुल्यां सृष्टिं करोत्यनुदिनं स भवत् प्रसादात् प्राग्ब्राह्मकल्पजनुषां च परायुषां तु सुप्तप्रबोधनसमास्ति तदापि सृष्टिः.
अस्मादृशां पुनरहर्मुखकृत्य तुल्यां सृष्टिं करोत्यनुदिनं स भवत् प्रसादात् प्राग्ब्रह्मकल्पजनुषां च परायुषां तु सुप्तप्रबोधनसमास्ति तदापि सृष्टिः. अस्मादृशां पुनरहर्मुखकृत्य तुल्यां सृष्टिं करोत्यनुदिनं स भवत्प्रसादात् प्राग्ब्राह्मकल्पजनुषां च परायुषां तु सुप्तप्रबोधनसमास्ति तदापि सृष्टिः
Panchashad abdham aduna. That word is 3 parts, but you won't be able to say it that way. So say the whole thing together. Panchashad abdham aduna swa vayordha rupam im. Rupam. Oh, sorry, let's just switch. It's halfway through. So Srividya and Meera, can you be students?
Yes.
Okay. Panchashadabdham adhuna swa vayordha rupam im, and then a comma. Next line, that mekam that is there becomes ekam. Ekam parardham ativritya. If you want to break it, parardham ativritya hi vartate sau.
Yaratri janitan katai.
Mera mute la podren aur se. Tatrantya ratri janitan kathayami bhuman, comma, paschadina. So the 2 das are coming. Paschadina vatarane cha bhavat vilasan. So just one quick, only one sentence here. So when you're doing the sankalpam, we say dvitiya pararde, right? So in the sankalpam, so I think eventually at the end of this chapter, you all will understand the sankalpam mantra well. So one pararda is 50 years of Brahma. So now we are saying the 50 years of Brahma is complete. That's one pararda. And now we are in the second pararda. So we're in the second 50 years of this Brahma. So that's the one take from this. Panchashadabdhamaduna swavayordharupam ekam parardhamati hi vartate sau tatrantya ratri janitan kathayami bhuman paschadinavatarane cha bhavat vilasan.
Panchashadaptamanuna svavayordharupam ekam prarardhamati hi vartate sau tatrantaya ratri janitan katayami bhuman paschadina vatarane cha bhavat vilasan. Panchashadaptamadhuna svavayordharupam ekam parardhamati hi vartate sau tadrartayarat
Tatrantya, that you have to say that together.
na third dananje tatrantaya ratri janitan katayami bhuman paschadinavatarane cha bhavat vilasan.
Shiviti, on the third line, you said tatrantaya, right? Ta is not a full ta, it's a it only. So tatrantya.
Oh, tatrantya ratri.
Yeah, correct.
Panchashadabdhamaduna svavayordharupam ekam parardhamativritya hi vartate sau tatrantya ratri janitan kathayami bhuman paschadina vatarane cha bhavad vilasan. Panchashadabdhamaduna svavayordharupam ekam parardhamativrtya hi vartate sau tatrantya ratri janitan kathayami bhuman paschadina vatarane cha bhavad vilasan.
Stanza 5. Dina vasaneta saroja yonihi, comma, sushupti kamas tvayi sannililye jaganti cha tvaj jhataram samiyuhu. So put a visarga at the end of that line, samiyuhu. Next line, the is goes away. So tadedam ekarnavam, if you want to break it. So tadedam ekarnavam asa vishwam. So this again continues at the end of the end of the Naimittika Pralaya, when, like we said, all the beings merge into Brahma, and Brahma also merges, and all of this merges into your jataram, merges into your abdomen, right? Dinavasane sarojayonihi sushuptikamastvai sannililye jaganti chatvajjataram samiyuhu tadedame karnavamasa vishwam.
दिनावसानेत सरोजयोनिः सुषुप्तिकामस्त्वयि सन्निलिल्ये जगन्ति च त्वज्जठरं समीयुः तदेदमे कार्णवमास विश्वम् दिनावसानेत सरोजयोनिः सुषुप्तिकामस्त्वयि सन्निलिल्ये जगन्ति च त्वज्जठरं समीयुः तदेदमे कार्णवमास विश्वम्
दिनावसाने तसरोजयोनिः सुषुप्तिकामस्त्वयि सन्निलिल्ये जगन्ति च त्वज्जठरं समीयुः तदेदमे कार्णवमास विश्वम्.
Asmita, on the third line, Twaj ij is there, right? So Twaj jataram, if you break it like that, it will land.
दिनावसाने तसरोजयोनिः सुषुप्तिकामस्त्वयि सन्निलिल्ये जगन्ति च त्वज्जठरं समीयुः तदेदमे कार्णवमास विश्वम्.
Tavaiva veshe phani raji sheshe, comma, jalaika sheshe bhuvane sma sheshe ananda sandhranu bhava swarupaha, comma, swa yoga nidra parimudritatma. This again says that at that time when all of this is happening, just you are existing and you are in this your yogic sleep, right, with Yoga Maya, and that's when, when Yoga Maya comes out, and then that's when all the creation starts. So this is just saying everything is in you at this point, and you are in a state of bliss. Tavaiva veshe phaniraji sheshe jalaika sheshe bhuvane smasheshe ananda sandranubhava swarupah swayoga nidra parimudritatma.
तवैव वेशे पणिराजिशेषे जलैकशेषे भुवने स्मशेषे आनन्दसान्द्रानुभवस्वरूपः स्वयोगनिद्रा परिमुद्रितात्मा तवैव वेशे पणिराजिशेषे जलैकशेषे भुवने स्मशेषे आनन्दसान्द्रानुभवस्वरूपः स्वयोगनिद्रा परिमुद्रितात्मा
तवैव वेशे पणिराजिशेषे जलैकशेषे भुवने स्मशेषे आनन्दसान्द्रानुभवस्वरूपः स्वयोगनिद्रा परिमुद्रितात्मा तवैव वेशे पणिराजिशेषे जलैकशेषे भुवने स्मशेषे आनन्दसान्द्रानुभवस्वरूपः स्वयोगनिद्रा परिमुद्रितात्मा.
Kalakya shaktim pralayavasane, comma, prabodha etya dishata. So the word you have to say it together. Prabodha etya dishata kiladhau tvaya prasuptam parisupta shakti, and then put a plus, vrajena tatrakhila jiva dhamna. So the last two lines, say it together. Kalakya shaktim pralayavasane prabodhayetyadishata kiladau tvaya prasuptam parisupta shakti vrajena tatrakhila jiva dhamna.
कालाख्यशक्तिं प्रलयावसाने प्रबोधयेद्या दिशा किलास्तौ
Dishata.
Okay. प्रबोधयेद्यादिशता किलातौ त्वय्या प्रसुप्तं परिशुद्धशक्तिव्रजेन तत्र किल जीवधाम्ना कालाख्यशक्तिं प्रलयावसाने प्रबोधयोद्यादिशता किलातौ त्वय्या प्रसुप्तं परिशुद्धशक्तिव्रजेन तत्र किल जीवधाम्ना.
With the second line, Prabodhayetya, I think you said yo.
Oh, yo sunnena. Okay. Okay.
कालाख्यशक्तिं प्रलयावसाने प्रबोधयेत्यादिशता किलादौ त्वया प्रसुप्तं परिसुप्तशक्तिव्रजेन तत्राखिल जीवधाम्ना कालाख्यशक्तिं प्रलयावसाने प्रबोधयेत्यादिशता किलादौ त्वया प्रसुप्तं परिसुप्तशक्तिव्रजेन तत्राखिल जीवधाम्ना
Chatur yuganam cha sahasram evam, comma, tvayi prasupte punaradvitiye kalakya shaktihi, put a if shaktif pratama prabuddha, comma, prabodhayatvam kila vishwanatha. चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमेवं त्वहि प्रसुप्ते पुनरद्वितीये कालाख्यशक्तिः प्रथमप्रबुद्धा प्राबोधयत्वां किल विश्वनाथ.
चतुर्युगाणां च सहस्रमेवं त्वयि प्रसुप्ते पुनरद्वितीये कालाख्यशक्तिः प्रथमः प्रबुद्धा प्रबोधयत्वं किल विश्वनाथ.
प्रबोधयत्वां.
Rajesh, the Punarat Vidiye da Dvidiye.
Dvitiye, ama. It's punar advitiye. So punaradvitiye.
Oh, rendu itu irukanga.
Dvi, first Dvi is coming and then T. Dvi T-A.
Oh, Dvi. Oh, thank you.
Dvi T-A. So D-V-I, Dvi, then T-I, T.
Okay, thank you.
चतुर्युगाणां च सहस्रमेवं त्वयि प्रसुप्ते पुनरद्वितीये कालाख्यशक्तिः प्रथम प्रबुद्धा प्रबोधयत्वां किल विश्वनाथ.
Last line,
प्राबोधवाद. Oh, என்னோடல பிரபோத போட்டிருக்கு.
Okay, so just change it. Prabodhayatvam.
प्राबोधयत्वां किल विश्वनाथ.
चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमेवं त्वयि प्रसुप्ते पुनरद्वितीये कालाख्यशक्तिः प्रथमप्रबुद्धा प्राबोधयत्वां किल विश्वनाथ. चतुर्युगाणां च सहस्रमेवं त्वयि प्रसुप्ते पुनरद्वितीये कालाख्यशक्तिः प्रथमप्रबुद्धा प्राबोधयत्वां किल विश्वनाथ.
Vibudhya cha tvam jala garbha shayin, comma, vilokya lokan akhilan. If you want to break it there, lokan akhilan pralinan teshveva sukshmat mathaya nijantaha. Is there? Put a is and then put a plus. So nijantas stitheshu vishweshu dadatha drishtim. So the last two lines are together. Vibudhya chatvam jalagarbhashahin bilokya lokan akhilan pralinan teshveva sukshmatmataya nijantastitheshu vishweshu dadata drishtim.
विभुत्य च त्वं जलगर्भशायिन् विलोक्य लोकानखिलान् प्रलीनान् तेष्वेव सूक्ष्मात्मतया निजान्तस् तेष्वेव सूक्ष्मामत तेष्वेव सूक्ष्मात्मतया निजान्तस्थितेषु विश्वेषु दृष्टिं विभूत्य च त्वं जलगर्भशायिन् विलोक्य लोकानखिलान् प्रलीनान् तेष्वेव सूक्ष्मात्मतया निजान्तस्थितेषु विश्वेषु दृष्टिम्
विबुध्य च त्वं जलगर्भशायिन् विलोक्य लोकानखिलान् प्रलीनान् तेष्वेव सूक्ष्मात्मतया निजान्तस्थितेषु विश्वेषु ददाथ दृष्टिम् विबुध्य च त्वं जलगर्भशायिन् विलोक्य लोकानखिलान् प्रलीनान् तेष्वेव सूक्ष्मात्मतया निजान्तस्थितेषु विश्वेषु ददाथ दृष्टिम्
ततस् त्वदीयाधयि नाभिरन्ध्रात्, put a it there at the end of that line, naభిरन्ध्रात् and then a comma. Next, instead of the du, it becomes u. Udanchitam kinchana divya padmam nilina nishesha padartha mala, and then put a plus, samkshepa rupam mukulaya manam. So this is where it says from your navel, right? So nabhi, from your nabhi in this time. Like I said, each Mahakalpa is different part of the Lord's body. In this Mahakalpa, from your nabhi emerged something which was in the form of a bud, right? That's what they say. It was just in the form of a bud first, and inside which all the subtle form of all the beings were actually there, and from then everything comes out. So ततस्त्वदीयादयिनाभिरन्ध्रात् उदञ्चितं किञ्चन दिव्यपद्मं निलीननिःशेषपदार्थमाला संक्षेपरूपं मुकुलायमानम्.
ततस्त्वदीयादयिनाभिरन्ध्रात् उदञ्चितं किञ्चन दिव्यपद्मं निलीननिःशेषपदार्थमाला संक्षेपरूपं मुकुलायमानम्. ततस्त्वदीयाधयिनाभिरन्ध्रात् उदञ्चितं किञ्चन दिव्यपद्मं निलीननिःशेषपदार्थमाला संक्षेपरूपं मुकुलायमानम्.
ततस्त्वदीयादयिनाभिरन्ध्रात् उदञ्चितं किञ्चन दिव्यपद्मं निलीननिःशेषपदार्थमाला संक्षेपरूपं मुकुलायमानम्. ततस्त्वदीयादयिनाभिरन्ध्रात् उदञ्चितं किञ्चन दिव्यपद्मं.
Meera, sorry. And the second line, first word, udanchit, it's an in sound there because on the nya word half letter is there. So it's in.
ततस्त्वदीयादयिनाभिरन्ध्रात् उदञ्चितं किञ्चन दिव्यपद्मं निलीननिःशेषपदार्थमाला संक्षेपरूपं मुकुलायमानम्.
Tade tadamboruha. So on the word, if you want to understand, it is tade tad amboruha. That's how it is, but it will be difficult for you to split it that way. So tade tadamboruha kudmalamte, comma, kale barat toya pate prarudham bahir niritam paritaha, put is paritas spuradbhihi, comma, swadhamabhir dvantamalam nyakrintat. Tade tadambhoruha kudmalam te kale baratoya pathe prarudham bahirniritam paritaspuradbihi swadamabhirdvantamalam nyakrintate.
तदेतदम्बोरुह कुड्मलं ते कलेबरातो यपते प्ररूढं बहिर्निरीतं परितस्फुरद्भिः स्वधामभिर्त्वान्तमलं न्यकृन्तत् तदेतदम्बोरुह कुड्मलं ते कलेबरातो यपते प्ररूढं बहिर्निरीतं परितस्फुरद्भिः स्वधामभिर्त्वान्तमलं न्यकृन्तत्
तदेतदम्भोरुहकुड्मलं ते कलेबरातो यपते प्ररूढं बहिर्निरीतं परितस्फुरद्भिः स्वधामभिर्ध्वान्तमलं न्यकृन्तत् तदेतदम्भोरुहकुड्मलं ते कलेबरातोपयथे प्ररूढं बहिर्निरीतं परितस्फुरद्भिः स्वधामभिर्ध्वान्तमलं न्यकृन्तत्
Samphulla patre nitaram vichitre, tasmin bhavat virya dhrite saroje sa padma janma vidir avirasit, swayam prabuddha kila veda rashihi. So this just says that from this like shape that came out, which was all primarily contained by your power, by your yogic power, that from that came the Vidir Avirasit, means to be born or to take birth, is the Brahma then comes, which is the Padma Janma. Because he's born from the lotus, he's called, Padma Bhu here. So Padma Janma, he came out. And then Swayam, because of your influence himself, like we said earlier, he got all the knowledge of the Vedas. That's the first transmission that is happening. So Brahma is born and then he gets all the knowledge from here. Samphulla, okay, so I think I said that. Samphulla patre nitaram vichitre tasmin bhavat virya dhrite saroje sapadma janma vidira virasit swayam prabuddha kila vedarashihi.
सम्पुल्लपत्रे नितरा विचित्रे तस्मिन् भवद्वीर्यधृते सरोजे सपद्मजन्मा विधिरा विरासीत् स्वयं प्रबुद्धा किल वेदराशिः सम्पुल्लपत्रे नितरां विचित्रे तस्मिन् भवद्वीर्यधृते सरोजे सपद्मजन्मा विधिरा विरासीत् स्वयं प्रबुद्धा किल वेदराशि.
सम्पुल्लपत्रे नितरां विचित्रे तस्मिन् भवद्वीर्यधृते सरोजे सपद्मजन्मा विधिरा विरासीत् स्वयं प्रबुद्धा किल वेदराशिः. सम्पुल्लपत्रे नितरां विचित्रे तस्मिन् भवद्वीर्यधृते सरोजे सपद्मजन्मा विधिरा विरासीत् स्वयं प्रबुद्धा किल वेदराशिः.
Stanza 13. Asmin paratman anupadmakalpe tvamittamutthapita padmayonihi ananta bhuma mamarogarashim nirundi vatalaya vasa vishnu. Like in the 7th chapter, I think that 8th stanza or something, right? We had marked that kalam hoda, right? So Ademari, this is also, this particular stanza is also an important one, and all this is what this is saying here is that, O Paratman, O you who is the supreme Brahman, in this Padma Kalpa, right, that we spoke about, because Brahma came from the lotus, in this case, it's the Padma Kalpa. In this Padma Kalpa, you brought into existence this Brahma from your navel, from the lotus, this Brahma came. So you created this Brahma in this Padma Kalpa in this way. So that Ananta Bhuma, the one who is actually there everywhere. Ananta means everywhere. So one who is actually there everywhere. Mama Roga Rashim. So my diseases and all the ailments I have, Nirundi, eradicate all of that. Vatalayavasa. Vatalayavasa means one who resides in Guruvayur, Vishnu. So that's what, so essentially what he says is, in this Padma Kalpa, you brought brought this Brahma into existence this way, as described in the previous stanzas, right? So that Ananta Bhuma, please eradicate all my ailments.
இது ஒரு ரவுண்ட் வந்தது இந்த ஸ்லோகம் for everyone, sometimes few years.
Yeah. அது என்ன, this one I think when somebody see இது எப்படி வந்து full Vedas இருக்கு, right? And full Veda, then they say, okay, you go to the Yajur Veda and then Adla, they say, okay, you go to Rudram. And the Rudram, they'll say, what is the most important? You come to the 8th Anuvakam. And the 8th Anuvakam, what is important? Namah Shivaya. So they say, okay, just say Namah Shivaya, right? So it is like, if you kind of narrow it down in the funnel, right? So what happened was, somebody had gone and asked Mahaperiva, I'm having the disease, so what can I say? So if he says, go chant Bhagavatam, then nobody will go. If he says, go chant Narayaneeyam, also nobody will go, because it's so big. So then you narrow it down to a chapter, then he says, you know what, just go chant this one slogam, right? Which is this 8th chapter, 13th stanza. Because that's a very important slogam, because they say you created Brahma itself in this Padma Kalpa. So you, Lord, who created Brahma in this Padma Kalpa, please eradicate my ailments. This became like more prevalent, right? More famous.
Popular slogam in Narayaneeyam now.
Another?
Most popular slogan.
Most popular slogan. That's essentially what it is. It is just like telling in the full Yajurveda, Om Namah Shivaya is the most important, which it is, right? I'm not denying that. All I'm saying is, like, that is, it's you keep filtering it down, and then it comes down to one or two things, right? But at the Kalam Bodha, what I said also is a very important stanza in the 7th chapter that we learned today. So Asmin Paratman Nanu Padma Kalpe Tvamittamuttapita Padmayonihi Ananta Bhuma Mama Rogarashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu.
Asmin Paratman Anupadma Kalpe Tvamittamuttapita Padmayonihi Ananda Bhuma Mama Rogarashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu. Asmin Paratman Anupadma Kalpe Tvamittamuttapita Padmayonihi Ananda Bhuma Mama Rogarashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu.
See, Meera, the one common mistake, that when somebody is just reading from Narayaneeyam directly, the book, let's say, so they will end up saying Ananta Bhuma Mama Rogarashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu, means Ananta Bhuma, oh all pervading Lord, my diseases, and then you're stopping. And then you're saying eradicate Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important that in the, like, again, even for people who you are familiar with, who chant the slokam, right? So just remind them that you have to pause after Nirundi. So Mama Roga Rashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu. Right?
Asmin Paratman Anupadma Kalpe Tvamittamuttapita Padmayonihi Ananta Bhuma Mama Rogarashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu. Asmin Paratman Anupadma Kalpe Tvamittamuttapita Padmayonihi Ananta Bhuma Mama Rogarashim Nirundi Vatalaya Vasa Vishnu.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. We'll end the class here. Sandhanandavabodhatmakamanupamitam Kaladeshavadebhyam Nirmuktam Nityamuktam Nigama Shatasahasrena Nirbhasyamanam Aspashtam Drishtapatre Punarurupurushartatmakam Brahmatattvam Tattavad Bhati Sakshat Gurupavanapure Hanta Bhagyam Janana कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.